The sun was barely up on a crisp April morning in 2024 when I, Ethan Harper, a 47-year-old former software engineer with a knack for spotting loopholes, first heard the shrill voice of Margaret Voss, the HOA president of the neighboring Willow Creek Estates, screaming, "Get that filthy thing off our marina." I was easing my handcrafted houseboat onto the glassy surface of Lake Serenity, a pristine body of water nestled entirely within my 200-acre property in rural Montana. My lake, my land, my dream. But to Margaret, it was a personal affront, a challenge to her iron grip on the community. Within minutes, she was dialing 911, acting as if I'd just set fire to her precious neighborhood. Sirens wailed, HOA board members descended like vultures, and suddenly I was accused of trespassing on water I'd legally owned for months. They called it community property. I called it the start of a showdown that would leave them speechless. Let me paint the picture. I'm Ethan, a guy with a salt and pepper beard and the sharp instincts of someone who ditched the corporate grind to live on his terms. After years of coding in windowless offices, I bought this Montana ranch to build custom furniture in peace, fish from my houseboat, and breathe air that didn't smell like printer ink. The lake was the crown jewel, and I'd done my homework before signing the deed. Water rights are a minefield, and I wasn't about to step on one. I dug through dusty county records, pored over HOA bylaws, and found a golden clause that confirmed the lake was mine, no strings attached. I kept it close, like a poker player hiding an ace, knowing trouble might come knocking. My old man used to say, "Water's power, son. People will fight dirty to claim it." I was 10, casting lines from a creaky rowboat in Alabama, not understanding his words until Margaret's golf cart screeched to a halt by my dock. Margaret Voss, 42, was the kind of person who thrived on control. Picture a woman with a perm so tight it matched her personality, always clutching a clipboard like a shield. She'd been ousted from a previous HOA for strong-arming residents, but slippery as she was, she dodged the fallout and landed here, more power-hungry than ever. To her, I was an outsider, a nobody who dared to challenge her kingdom. The trouble started when I cleared a path to the lake and put up a sign, "Private property. No trespassing." That sign was like waving a red flag in front of a bull. One afternoon, as I sanded my boat's hull, Margaret rolled up in a golf cart plastered with HOA stickers, armed with a laser measurer and a superiority complex. She didn't bother with hellos, just started pacing my land, muttering measurements like a detective at a crime scene. "This lake belongs to the community," she snapped, eyeing my boat like it was a pile of garbage. I showed her my land survey, the one with clear boundaries proving the lake was mine. She scoffed, snatched the papers, and tossed them into the wind. I scrambled to grab them while she smirked, threatening fines and promising I'd never know peace. I could have fought her right there, but I played it cool, even taking down my sign to see how far she'd push. Margaret didn't disappoint. 2 days later, at 5 a.m., she hand-delivered a $4,000 fine for unauthorized use of common property, complete with telephoto shots of my boat labeled environmental hazard. She emailed the neighborhood a video of me removing my sign, crowing, "Troublemaker surrenders." I sat on my porch, sipping coffee, watching her strut away, and muttered, "Oh, Margaret, you're begging for a reckoning." I called my lawyer, Nathan Cole, a 60-year-old real estate shark with a silver mustache and a calm that could disarm a hurricane. When I told him about the clause I'd found, he chuckled. "Ethan, we're not just winning this. We're rewriting her story." The real fireworks came when I decided to flex my rights. On a sunny Saturday, I hired a crane to launch my houseboat. The rumble of machinery drew a crowd, and Margaret appeared like she'd teleported, face purple, screaming about community destruction. She filmed me, called 911, and threw in wild accusations about pollution and public safety threats. The cops arrived, led by Sergeant Mike Larson, a grizzled 55-year-old who looked like he'd seen every flavor of neighborhood drama. Margaret ranted, practically climbing onto his cruiser to make her point. I handed Larson a folder: deeds, surveys, the works. He scanned them, checked his tablet, and sighed. "Mr. Harper owns this lake. This is a civil matter, not a crime." Margaret's jaw hit the dirt. Neighbors whispered, phones out, filming her meltdown. I gave her a look that said, "Checkmate." But Margaret wasn't done. She called an emergency HOA meeting, sending emails with subject lines like urgent, threat to our community. Her slideshow was a masterpiece of paranoia, with arrows pointing to my boat like it was a missile. HOA loyalists suggested insane penalties, fines, nets to drag my boat out, even reporting me to the EPA. I sat quietly, letting them dig their hole. When my turn came, I didn't shout. I projected a map, highlighted my boundaries, and read the HOA's own bylaws, word for word, proving they had zero claim. A retiree in the back, Walter, piped up, "I've been here 30 years. That clause is real." The room went silent, then erupted in murmurs. Margaret stammered, "Those are outdated," but the crowd wasn't buying it. Claps started, then cheers. I walked out, leaving her fuming. She didn't quit. Margaret sued me, demanding $50,000 and a restraining order to keep me off my own lake. Online, she unleashed a smear campaign, posting grainy boat photos and calling me a fraud. She even used fake accounts to back herself up, but her typos gave her away. I was ready to give up one night, staring at her 2 a.m. rants, when I got a game changer, a voice memo from Clara Evans, a retired CPA who'd been sniffing around HOA finances. It was Margaret, pressuring a board member to funnel $10,000 from HOA funds into a special account, with no paperwork. Nathan and I held onto it like a grenade. In court, Margaret's case was a mess, recycling debunked claims. Nathan didn't bother rehashing the lake ownership. Instead, he called Clara, who laid out Margaret's financial shenanigans. Then he played the recording. Margaret's voice filled the courtroom, smug and sneaky. She lunged for the mic, shrieking, but Judge Helen Ramsey, a no-nonsense veteran, slammed her gavel. "Sit down, MS. Voss." The judge froze the HOA's lawsuit, ordered a financial audit, and barred Margaret from touching HOA money. She left the courthouse, head down, while I sent Clara's recording to a local reporter. Margaret doubled down, flooding social media with doctored clips and threats. But the community had had enough. Neighbors posted unedited videos of her 911 meltdown and the HOA meeting, plus stories of her bullying, finding mailboxes, spying with binoculars, screaming at delivery drivers. When I organized an online HOA meeting and muted her mid-rant, the clip went viral. Her fake accounts were exposed, her posts mocked. She was done. I didn't just reclaim my lake. I tore down the HOA's community marina sign with a sledgehammer, neighbors cheering. In its place, I built a sign, "Serenity Lake Marina, Ethan Harper, owner." I threw a free opening party, kids splashing, adults laughing, no HOA nonsense. Margaret was ousted in a landslide vote, facing criminal charges for embezzlement. She slipped away one rainy night, leaving a shredded apology letter in her yard. We tossed it in the trash, closure complete. The story spread, sparking news reports and inspiring other communities to fight HOA tyrants. I used marina profits to add trails and picnic spots, making the lake a true community gem. Standing on my dock, I realized this wasn't just my win, it was everyone's. Sometimes, justice sneaks up like a houseboat on a quiet lake. So what do you think? Was I too harsh, or did Margaret get what she deserved? Should HOAs have any power over private property, or are they just legalized bullying? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Ethan, and subscribe for more stories where the underdog bites back.